I thank you all. You're here for a very important purpose. I want to thank Governor Vilsack for his decades of service on behalf of our home state. And you can't represent Iowa and lead Iowa unless you're very much interested in American agriculture. And he was very protective of the Iowa farmer and the American farmer. We see eye to eye when it comes to Iowa and the family farmer. After serving our state as governor and leading the helm at the U.S. Department of Agriculture for 2 administrations, Tom brings tested leadership skills and agricultural expertise to the policy-making table, and I have no doubt that he will put those tributes and attributes to good use as head of your table at the World Food Prize Foundation, and you've probably already found that out. Now, I realize it's not an unplanned coincidence that we're meeting today on what would be Norman Borlaug's 111th birthday. What a great reason to celebrate Dr. Borlaug's lifelong mission together. We also honor our those heroes who work on food security and those who feed the world through driving real change in food production and agriculture. We're gathered to continue dialogue to make sure that there's enough food on the table for the 10 billion people that are expected to live on this globe within the next 25 years. Exactly 11 years ago today, I was honored to attend the ceremony honoring Dr. Borlaug on what would have been his 100th birthday. On that day, my home state honored this remarkable man with one of Iowa's 2 statues in the United States Capitol. That is, in fact, a testimony to his life's work and also Iowa's agricultural heritage. Iowa farmers take pride in embracing sustainable practices and adopting scientific innovation that increase crop yields and produce more food on fewer acres. While I can't take credit for saving billions of people from starvation, Dr. Borlaug and I do share a few things in common. Our boyhood farms are both located in northeast Iowa, about an hour apart as the crow flies. In fact, I live within 4 miles of the farm home I was born in 91 years ago. Now, while Dr. Borlaug is known as the father of Green Revolution, and maybe senators don't get a reputation for much, but I'm considered the father of the wind energy tax credit that has brought 60% of our electricity in Iowa from wind. Dr. Borlaug and I are both diehard evangelists for agriculture, as as Governor Vilsack is, and that agriculture is the world's anchor for food security. And the 2 of us happen to share the same middle name, Ernest. We apply that Iowa-bred earnestness on behalf of farmers to achieve food security. Around the policy-making tables in Congress, I like to remind my colleagues that society is only 9 meals away from revolution. Now in America, we have to think about that because we don't have riots to get food like they do in some countries. But just think of it. If you got a family to feed and you don't have any food for 3 days, 9 meals, that's what I mean. You take action to make sure that you feed your family. And sometimes that's not always a peaceful thing. And I know you and the World Food Prize and all the scientists and people that contribute the research to increase food production are trying to make sure that we don't have that problem. So it's an honor to join global leaders today who are laser focused on the urgent mission of global food security. Since 1986, the World Food Prize Foundation has sown the seeds to grow leaders of tomorrow by educating our next generation of scientists, agronomists, innovators, farmers, business leaders. You're doing the Lord's work to ensure global food pantry can sustain a growing world population. And when I refer to leaders of tomorrow, I know in your programs today you've met some of those younger people being involved. And I know the World Food Prize Foundation is very much involved in their intern program, making sure that next generation is encouraged and also qualified to move ahead. Bringing people together who are laser focused on the urgency of global food security and collaborating with mission-focused solutions will help prevent the pangs of hunger from keeping a child and his mother awake at night. As a lifelong Iowan, I've been impressed by the work of the World Food Prize Foundation and take pride that this is headquartered in our state capital city of Des Moines. I've had the opportunity in the years since it was set up in Des Moines to attend many of those very formal programs of honoring scientists and other leaders of agriculture at the House of Representatives building or room in the state capitol building. And I hope that it still continues for a long time into the future. You know that the World Food Prize is internationally referred to as the Nobel Prize of food and agriculture. And I remember so many times Dr. Borlaug telling me, I don't mean I lived with Dr. Borlaug, but I suppose over the 25 or 30 years that he would come to Washington, D.C., or seeing him in Des Moines, I interacted with him an awful lot. And he always explained to us how he got the Nobel Peace Prize because there wasn't any such thing that agriculture could fit into. And in a sense, producing food has a lot to do with world peace. And anyway, he had this drive that finally ended up in the 1980s. I guess it started in another state, but didn't last long there. But it's been in Iowa now for, I guess, 43 years or something like that. And we're honored to have it. But I remember Dr. Borlaug talking very intently about the need that we need to honor scientists and other people that promote agriculture and agricultural production. The recipients of this prestigious award are driving real change in agriculture, nutrition, and food security. They're making new discoveries to improve crop resilience, boost crop yields, and strengthens sustainability. And I know some of the research and the people that have won the prize have won it because they increase the health and welfare of people as well. The World Food Prize is fostering the next generation of leaders, perhaps even inspiring the next global humanitarian hero like Norbert Borlaug turned out to be, and all to keep their eyes on the prize and unlock food security for generations to come. Like many farmers in Iowa and across America, my son and grandson are itching to get into the fields for spring planting. Whether you're planting corn seed in Iowa or seed of rice in India, many generations of farmers are eternal optimists. In fact, it's very difficult to be in farming without being an eternal optimist. The seeds they plant are dependent on soil temperature, sunshine, rain to germinate, grow, and produce high-quality yields at harvest time. The farmer is at the mercy of Mother Nature and grateful for scientific innovation that strengthens their crops to be drought, pest, and weed resistant. Farmers around the world benefit from innovation and sustainable farming practices that laureates, and some of you are right here in the room, I'll bet, from the World Food Prize, pursuing with the same tireless commitments that Dr. Borlaug cultivated in the fields of Mexico and India. Their success stories reflect how the World Food Prize is fulfilling its mission to germinate the fruits of food security. The seed money bestowed to the laureates each October in Des Moines nourishes new breakthroughs that have transformed global agriculture to alleviate hunger and increase access to food. As a federal policymaker with a seat on the Senate Agriculture Committee, I'd like to see stronger investment in agricultural research. We've fallen way behind in that area compared to other monies that the federal government puts into research in other areas. As work continues on a new farm bill, we're facing a tough budget environment. The work you do with the World Food Prize Foundation is increasingly important to help ensure food production keeps pace with the demand of food security. So, as our stewards of the soil put in the work preparing for the upcoming planting season, I want to thank the seed geneticists, agronomists, and bioscientists toiling day in and day out to beat hunger. You may do it in your laboratory. We do it in the fields and under the sunshine, but we're working together. We've been very successful in the last 40 years, increasing production. God only made so much land tillable, but we have taken advantage of your work as scientists to increase production tremendously. I remember in 1960 when my father died and I got into the farming operation, maybe 50 bushel of corn to the acre. Even on our relatively modest land where I live, we still get 200 bushel corn to the acre, and a lot of the more productive land in our state can produce easily 260 bushel per acre. So I think that shows the progress that you've made and overcomes the fact that we got limited resources to grow the crops. Your work provides farmers the tools to grow enough food so billions of food insecure people do not perish from this earth. And when world leaders come to my office to discuss agricultural trade, I take an opportunity to educate them about the safety of genetically engineered corn and soybeans. I guess when I speak about people coming to my office, it's most often you're talking to people from Europe where they seem to have some of being fearful of GMO food. But I always keep a few soybeans in my closet, and I like to take out 2 or 3 to chew on them, as you do as a farmer, to find out if they're about 13% moisture, which is the ideal time to harvest soybeans. And I tell them I've been doing this through my life as a farmer, and I'm a living laboratory of the safety of GMO food. Anyway, now I'm getting to the end, so you don't have to worry how much more you got to listen to. But anyway, the World Food Prize Foundation has been a vital catalyst in this movement. I'm glad to partner with you to keep a shining bright light on food security and to continue the mission of Dr. Borlaug. So I'm here to thank you, all of you, for coming together to tackle the complex challenges of feeding the world. This is a unique form of action, pretty unique, because this is the only global organization calling and collaborating solely on agriculture and food security. I want you to keep it up, and I hope I have a few more opportunities to go to the World Food Prize in October when you come to Des Moines, and it's quite an honor to cross paths with so many people from around this globe. Let me say one final thing, because I referred to agriculture and the problems you have, and I'll end it this way. I think farmers any place on this globe talk the same language, but I've only got one example. I don't know whether this would fit every country or not, but I had the occasion in 1986 to travel Germany during a federal election there, and I had a chance to go to CDU farm meetings where politicians were showing up to get the vote of these people. And except for having somebody interpret for me German into English, and the result of that was that I was hearing exactly the same thing from farmers in Germany as I was hearing from farmers in the state of Iowa. That's how common agriculture is around the world, and all of you scientists and researchers working on this area, you're working for the same people, whether German, American, Canadian, Mexican, Brazilian, Indonesian, India, wherever you go in this world, including all the countries that are agriculture states in Africa. So you're working for the same common people, regardless of the language they speak or where they live. So I appreciate the opportunity to be with you, but more importantly, I appreciate the work you're doing, because we're going to continue to save billions of people like Dr. Borlaug did. Thank you very much.